Greetings, everyone. It's great to be with you and learning with you again. Today's presentation is entitled Meditation in Depth 11. Now, meditation is the key and central practice of spirituality and for the mastery of life. Much progress can be made when meditation is practiced daily. In this regard, we'll have a meditation period first, and then we'll have the main body of the presentation. To prepare ourselves for this presentation and the meditation, I want to share with you now a slide, and you'll see an image here before you. It's entitled Meditation by the Sea. It's known to be in a folk art style. It's actually in the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. You may have seen it. It dates from the early 1860s. It's oil on canvas. And you can actually see some of the canvas fraying in the upper left corner and some other parts, and even some of the weave of the canvas in it. It's a somewhat smaller work. It's about 13 5/8 inches by 19 by 5/8 inches. It's by an unidentified artist, and this is part of the intriguing part of this matter. I think we've all had experiences being by a great body of water and being wonderfully taken by the suggestion of the eternity and the experience of the infinite, all conducive to experiencing cosmic consciousness. Now, it's quite interesting in regard to this work. You notice how there's a strong sense of perspective with lines moving on the left side, way down, disappearing in the horizon. Also, the horizon, we see two ships just over it. The great movements of the water. It's this beautiful green color. There's a solitary figure here, two other figures further back, in a way contemplating the infinitude of suggested by nature. Intriguingly, we have this high bank with a tree branches leaning over it, and then the clouds floating by, all sort of a wonderful sense of harmony along with the geology of the stones and the sand along the way, and the water rushing in and then going back out. Now, art historians often will look for precedents for where a work may have come from. And it's intriguing to note that there's a closely related work to this. I'll put them two side by side in a moment. You can have a close look. This is actually a slightly earlier work. It's from September 21st, 1860 edition of the Harper's New Monthly Magazine. And there was an article in there by a person who went by the name of Porte Crayon for the French pencil or crayon holder. But we know it was David Hunter Strother. And he also did the engravings for it, this one entitled The Ocean Surf. And that article titled A Summer in New England, he has a rather beautiful description of being by the seaside and being in the area of Gay Head and Martha's Vineyard, which I know some of you are very familiar. Let me quote from that article. I'll give you some references on these things in the chat through Karen later. It says, to steep the soul in awe. So picture yourself overlooking the water like this figure here. To steep the soul in awe, to awaken in the mind the highest sense of sublimity. What is there like the oneness of ocean? The simple horizontal line that belts the globe, the deep monotone of blue, the measured surge like the mighty pulsation of a living world, the sullen cadenced roar, the solemn anthem of eternity. He also goes on to mention that from the beginning, these waves have rolled in. He says, since first the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. We recognize there, of course, the quoting of Genesis 1:2, a text which has deep mystical meanings as one of its senses or ways of interpreting to do with how we come into consciousness of the cosmos, which we will do shortly in our meditation. If I put the two works up side by side here for you, you'll notice there are changes, but there are similarities. The solitary figure we mentioned earlier, the rock protruberances here, and here. We have the way the water is coming in and curling as it laps over is similar. The rock formations here are very close. You'll see the rocks the way he's pictured them here by the anonymous artist, very similar to Poincaré's work. The two ships just over the horizon, all these things we can take in to help us in our meditation. You know, it's interesting in this regard that past imperator, writer Christian Bernard in his book, So Mote It Be, particularly in chapter 12 on cosmic attunement, has a mystical exercise on visualizing ourselves by an ocean shore and experiencing cosmic attunement through the microcosm that we are and through the macrocosm suggested by the vast view that solitary figures here are contemplating. In fact, if I quote our past imperator, and this will lead us into our meditation. Imagine that you are on a vast beach alongside the ocean. This beach is deserted, and as you strongly wish to commune with everything around you, you sit upon it, facing the ocean. You enjoy this mystical solitude with all your heart and soul, and you allow your being to attune with everything you can see and hear. Indeed, a fundamental characteristic of being human is to be open. And this is very important in mysticism, to be open to the full range of vibrations of the cosmic keyboard, suggested by our scene by the great waves of the Atlantic Ocean. I invite you now to take just a little more time with the image as we prepare ourselves for meditation. And when you're ready to close your eyes, and we'll begin to follow a meditation. Just take some time to turn inwardly. Having enjoyed and imagined the great vastness of the ocean, suggestive of the vastness within us and without us, and unified through the universal intelligence that we're connected to through the master within, the divine within, our true guide in life. If you're seated, I suggest you have your spine upright so you can breathe in an unencumbered way. But if you want to lie down, just try to ensure that you're comfortable and can breathe easily. Take some deep neutral breaths, neither holding the inhalations nor holding the exhalation. Just enjoy the gentle rhythm of the breath going in and out, just like the waves by the seashore. They're all harmonized together. The great music of nature. The underlying unity of the cosmos. It allows us to attune with the cosmic, to know our meaning and purpose, and to be one with the one. Just continue to enjoy the gentle rhythms of the breath, maybe breathing a little more deeply than usual. Take in the vital life force from the air, particularly being invigorated by its positive polarity, the cosmic essence. And I invite you just to extend a little longer your exhalation that'll stimulate the vagus nerve, which brings about the relaxation response, which he spiritualizes a deep sense of serenity and tranquility that allows the healing to take place within ourselves, the making whole. Breathing is a surprisingly simple act, but a very profound one that's very much part of the mastery of life, never to be underestimated. When we're feeling uplifted or when we're in challenging situations, apply the breath, particularly extending the exhalation, to have that relaxation and increased capacity to concentrate and do what needs to be done. Sense with each incoming of the breath the increased presence of the divine within, our master within. And with each going of the breath, particularly prolonging the exhalation, experiencing that relaxation, tranquility. And through the polarity of the inhalation and the exhalation, we come into a deeper and deeper sense of the law of unity, feeling unified and whole. If you find your mind wandering, just lovingly and gently bring it back to the breath. Feel the invigoration of the vital life force throughout your body. Wonderful tingling effect, healing in its nature. The body likes to relax. The divine within is all the more easily aware of in this situation. We become sensitized. We turn inward. Let go of the cares of the day. Come back from the meditation recharged and rejuvenated, all the more able to handle whatever needs to be done this day and always. It's part of our mission in life, in the deepest sense of meaning thereof. Now we'll continue our meditation. We'll in part apply the instructions of the booklet Liber 777, which we'll give you a reference to later. And we'll apply a meditation exercise that was given to us by past Grand Master Donna O'Neill, meditation from the center of the universe. So continue with your eyes closed, sensing the inner vastness, the ocean in our being. Picture a great and wondrous ball of white light surrounding your heart center, then expanding out to surround the entire holy temple of your body. Picture this invigorating, enriching, ennobling white light extending out from the divine within us to encompass the entire building or home that we're in. And let it continue to expand out to encompass the entire city or local geographic area where we dwell. And then our entire province or state. Take it all in this huge white light sphere. Let it expand further, taking in the entire great nation or country where we dwell, and all the people there, and all the landforms, and all the weather systems. And continue to expand that great white light of which you're the center of, out to encompass your entire continent. And then your entire hemisphere, north or south, depending where you are, in the temple of the earth. And keep expanding out that great ball to encompass the entirety of the beautiful blue jewel of the earth. As you do that, sense the motion of the earth about its axis. And this great white light of a sphere enriching and ennobling all life forms on earth and all expressions of life and all the kingdoms. Then expand out and encompass to take in the great fiery ball of the sun, the other planets in their elliptical orbits, the huge planet of Jupiter and the beautiful ringed planet of Saturn. Continue to expand out the great sphere of light which you're centered on, to take in all other stellar phenomena of quasars and pulsars and nebulae, increasingly encompassing our Milky Way galaxy. Keep moving the sphere out at a tremendous speed, way beyond the speed of light. Taking in now the whole home of our Milky Way galaxy and its great spiraling arms. And continue to expand out the great sphere to take in not only galaxy that you can see, be in wonder of its great motions, but other galaxies as well, some spiraling and some in other forms, since the great system and order of it all. As we continue to move out, encompassing the sphere, clusters of galaxies, that is clusters with many, many galaxies, increasingly taking in many, many clusters and nebulae, galaxies, myriad stars, comets, planets, great colors, vibrations, sensing it not only in a physical way, but in a psychic way. And continue to expand out the sphere to take in now superclusters of galaxies, which have many, many clusters of galaxies, which have within them many, many galaxies in the vastness of the universe. Suggested not only by the great sea, seen by the sea that we saw in meditation by the sea, but now in the great oceanic space of the universe. Taken in as increasingly sense what Rosicrucians referred to as the cosmic. All the natural spiritual laws and the universal intelligence back of the cosmos and guiding it in us and all the cells in our body. Continue to expand the sphere out to take in now the entirety of the universe and its great cosmic axis. And at this great center of your being, where you sense the universe itself revolving about its axis, picture now your personal celestial sanctum as described in the booklet Liber 777. You may wish to view it like the solitary person by the seashore, being inspired by the vastness of the sea, suggesting the vastness of cosmic consciousness, the consciousness of the cosmic mind. Or maybe a Rosicrucian temple, like the one at the San Jose, California, at Rosicrucian Park, the Grand Temple. Or maybe an inspiring cathedral or basilica, or a Sikh Gurdwara, or a Buddhist stupa, or a Hindu mandir, or Jewish synagogue, or maybe some other inspiring scene in nature like a sacred grove or a high vantage point from a mountain. Feel in the sights and sounds of it there now. And sense other seekers with you, like those on this conference call, and the officers of our order, and the Grand Masters and the Imperator who may be conducting a special service there. You may wish to fill in sights and sounds such as beautiful stained glass windows depicting Rosicrucian laws and principles and mystical teachings. Or incense rising up, just like we were expanded out into the cosmos. Let us say together, may the divine essence of the cosmic infuse my being and cleanse me of all impurities of mind and body, that I may enter the celestial sanctum in attune and pureness and in worthiness. So mote it be. And once you've filled in all the sights and sounds, both of an outer nature and an inner psychic nature, feel the exhilaration of being there. Sense your birthright of attunement with the cosmic and the divine mind. And let us dwell for a while in the deep center of our being, encompassing the cosmos, the great stillness at the center. You find your mind wandering, fratters and soars and participants, just lovingly and gently bring it back to the gentle rhythm of the breath, the one with the great harmony and motions of the universe, the still center of your being. Picture your mind expanding out to fill the cosmos, to fill that great sphere of white light that you visualized earlier. Let your mind expand out to experience things like the cosmic mind, to be the cosmic mind, to assume the cosmic mind now in the great stillness of interiority. Just continue to surrender and let go, merging with the cosmic mind. Surrender to it and be it. Now, from the vantage point of the cosmic mind, let us radiate love and well-being to all those in need, all those who have petitioned the Grand Lodge of the Rosicrucian Order Amorc for guidance and healing, all those who have petitioned the Rosicrucian affiliated bodies for guidance and healing, all those that you know of who are in need of guidance and healing, and all sentient beings in need of guidance and healing. Radiate from the depths of your being, one with the cosmic mind, love and well-being, to enkindle the healing forces of nature within each being, to assist them in being healed, being set aright, being fully themselves, fully open to learn. Radiate the love and well-being now, filling the cosmos to all in need. As you radiate love and well-being, just continue to surrender to the divine within and let it undertake this spiritual operation. Enjoy the exhilaration, this contact of a divine nature, fulfilling the law of service, the law of cosmic attunement. Soon we'll formally conclude this period of metaphysical aid, but we'll continue our meditation. Let the love and well-being continue to flow now and always. It's a way of life. It's part of something fundamental, being a human being and one with the one. To formally conclude the metaphysical aid period, fratres and sorors and participants, let us say together, if it pleases the cosmic, it is done. So mote it be. Now let us continue to dwell from the heights of the celestial sanctum, the center of our being at the center of the cosmos, one with the one a while longer, enriched and ennobled. Now, fratres and sorors and participants will soon formally conclude this period of meditation. May wish at this time to express gratitude for this opportunity to be of service and to have the birthright of cosmic attunement and the fulfillment of the law of cosmic attunement now and always. And gratitude to all those who have taught us well, to all who have loved us and sacrificed for us. For the Rosicrucian and spiritual teachings to guide us to know how to be and live in this world through contact with the Master within. Now let us begin our descents from the heights of the Celestial Sanctum, the center of our being. We'll draw back in the great sphere of white light encompassing the universe. Draw it back in, moving it successively back in closer and closer, past various superclusters of galaxies and clusters of galaxies. Keep drawing it back in, sensing the great harmony and beauty and music of the spheres. Drawing it back in so it now just encompasses our Milky Way galaxy. Drawing it back in further, encompass just as our solar system. Then just the Earth. Then our hemisphere, our continent, our country, our great nation, then our province, our state, and the city in our geographic area. And before we proceed further, let us do the prayer and invocation. May the God of my heart sanctify this attunement of self with the celestial sanctum, so mote it be. And let us draw the white sphere back to our home or building, and then the room where we left off. And then around our holy temple of our body, and then our great psychic center, the heart. And when you're ready, fratres and sorors and participants, you may wish to open your eyes, remade, rejuvenated, reinvigorated, all the more ready for the work and worship of the Rosicrucian Order this day. Thank you. Great. So we'll continue our meditation in depth 11 presentation. We'll do it by dealing with a series of questions. The first one is, what are the reasons for ascending to the heights of the celestial sanctum, just like we just did? I think you'll have many senses of that even from your experience right now. One of them is for our general enlightenment. Another is for our health. Another is to send metaphysical aid, as we did, as an act of service. Another thing can be done is to ask a question, particularly one that is not easily answered by any other means, but the divine within can guide us in. And we may get a flash of an answer during the meditation period or later that day, or hints and clues as to pieces of the puzzle put together the larger answer to that question. It may be to petition the cosmic. There's a cosmic law, thou shalt ask. If we're in an emergency situation or something important needs to be done, it's important to explicitly state it to the cosmic, even though the cosmic is fully aware. In that enunciation, it helps set the laws and principles in motion. Now, we can use the time in the celestial sanctum to undertake our spiritual operations, such as visualization and various Rosicrucian exercises. They'll have an added efficacy when we're attuning with the cosmic. We'll be at the heights of the celestial sanctum. We can also use it as a time to commune with loved ones, including those who have passed through transition. These and many more things can be accomplished at the heights of the celestial sanctum, and a reason to do this form of meditation and meditation in general. Another question is, how can we get rid of unwanted thoughts? Well, those thoughts are there for a purpose, and they'll go away when they're no longer needed. There may be something we are neglecting or need to process, but once it is faced, understood, and replaced with a new approach, the previous thoughts will not arise, or less so, and even be understood more constructively. Meditation is important in this regard because it allows us to keep letting go and releasing tension. That allows us to come back to whatever we need to face and deal with in a much more mature, expansive way, because our meditation helps integrate all our faculties. And it makes what may seem challenging when they're just dealing with one faculty, such as reasoning. When you've got the intuition, deeper faculties of the mind and psychic capacity working on it as well, what can seem challenging and insurmountable is now going ahead. And we have a sense of enjoyment and exhilaration by embracing the challenge, and a degree of sense of mastership in seeing it through. In our maturing process, of which meditation is central to, untruths cease to fascinate us. We'll tend not to go to those thoughts that are concerning us before, as new and more harmonious thoughts and challenges arise instead. But unwanted thoughts are not something to fear. They're often something that we have to consider as an important need that we need to address more and transmute and transform. And then we'll be made anew in the image of God. Another question is, what are some of the helpful things that we can do to ensure that we are meditating daily? Well, one of the various ways to sort of go at this and consider it. And I think many things are coming to your mind as well in what you do to ensure you're meditating daily. For example, we can look to other things that we are doing daily of a constructive nature. For example, study, reading, exercise, walking, jogging, that require self-discipline on our part. and see if we can use the same approach for meditation. What are the things that get us doing physical exercise every day? What motivates us there? Well, you apply those things to meditation. It's interesting in this regard that psychologists have done studies of people who maintain, for example, a regular physical exercise program, such as daily walking or jogging, that I know many of you do and are wonderful synergistic effects with meditation. The studies have shown that if the person is being reinvigorated by the activity, such as the physical exercise, for several hours or for the rest of the day afterwards, they will tend to stay with that exercise program. So as we realize that reinvigorating effect of meditation, we'll stay with the meditation program daily as well. In fact, want to do even more of it. It's good if you can be doing at least an hour of it at a time or in a series over the day. Now, meditation too can be something that we look forward to, its simplicity. The relaxation, our body likes to relax. The Holy Temple really appreciates that, and it's part of the way it heals. It's also a time we realize increasingly for catching up in our rest. The meditation can be very soothing, especially when we are in that still silence together. And it can even be a sense of adventure rising to the heights of the Celestial Sanctum. In a very basic way, it feels good in a way different from any other activity. And then through it, we have more appreciation of our lives. And our emotional ups and downs are seen in a new way and conceived differently, as well as our experiences. All these things can add to the value of I really want to get meditating today, and I can see I need it. Now, setting a time over the day is often people find very helpful. For example, you can structure your day accordingly as a central practice, meditation. You can set up a rhythm with your other daily activities. For example, upon rising, to help set an uplifting tone for the day, do some meditation. At midday, to help soothe oneself, let go and re-energize. And before retiring for the night, to sleep well and to assist in dreaming and psychic and mystical work overnight. All these things help set up a regular rhythm that have a mutually reinforcing value to want to be meditating and to do it as a habit. Also, a good time to meditate is after we've been intensively working on a task. Then it's a natural time for a break. Meditation is well suited to such times of the day. Now, it's very important, as I've mentioned earlier, to form habits. In the Rosicrucian teachings, we learn about habit as a law of the subconscious mind, such as when we're needing to do some challenging task, it's good to get in the habit to say, this is an important time to do meditation. Because then we can visualize it and meditate. And that time will be well spent. I know many of you experience that, and we'll proceed in a more ably, courageously, creatively, and effectively in a way that may surprise us. Often things that may seem painful or difficult or surmountable, we'll transmute it and it'll happen. It'll be part of the mastery of life. You know, meditation is something that can be enjoyable for the body, mind, and spirit. It's something to look forward to, as I've been mentioning. You know, often two motivators for people to do meditation are either advancing in the spiritual quest or for health and healing. And often meditation groups tend to emphasize one or the other. Now, both motivations are ultimately unified in a more expansive understanding of wholeness. They both seek wholeness, those two approaches to meditation, because health is ultimately wholeness. And spiritual attainment in the rose quartz state are wholeness. Having both realized that both these strong motivations are unified, health and the spiritual quest, that they're realized as one, is a powerful impetus to meditate daily. Indeed, one of the great beauties of the Rosicrucian lessons and studies that we do daily and weekly are that we are shown and demonstrate for ourselves that health and spirituality move together. They are one and the same. They and mutually build up together in ourselves and in our acts of service for others. The spirit of adventure and unfolding helps meditation to become a way of life. Not only when we formally sit to do the exercise, like we just did, but also to continue meditating and walking and doing our daily activities when we're conversing, when we're presenting, and being with other peoples in the world. You know, from studies in psychology, it's common, we know, for the mind to wander. Actually, it's quite common for our minds to wander 50% of the time, unless we're regular in meditation, because that helps us in their intentional control. You know, often people who do meditations, particularly the first times getting experience with it, they'll say, oh, my mind wandered so much. And they'll often attribute it to the meditation. It's not the meditation causing that when our mind wanders. It's just the meditation makes us more sensitive to what's going on all the time in our waking life, that we're often wandering. You can imagine how much more we can do and achieve and be of value and service if our mind wasn't wandering so much. In fact, I know many of you have experienced that by daily meditation. You see, when we stop to observe what is going on in our minds, we notice that there's this wandering going on. And it has a survival value to a degree in terms of being aware of our surroundings and so forth, but it's done much more often than it's needed. And with meditation, the attentional controls increase, so we can do much more and enjoy much more the day. We can realize that in this matter too, that meditation is a priority activity in our lives, and that other activities need to be balanced with and not take the place of doing meditation. In fact, all other activities will be enriching and done better in a more timely fashion when meditation has been done. So if you have a challenging activity, we meditate first, go more smoothly. It'll be more deep. If it's a detailed activity or has something very challenging for us emotionally to deal with, it'll flow more because the mind, the master within, will be more with us and identified with our true nature. Now increasing the amount that we meditate daily can be very helpful. Not only doing it daily, but doing more of it. That is increasing the dosage, to look at it from a health perspective or psychology perspective. And doing so will enhance all the life-giving, life-embracing, and life-guiding effects. Our experiencing these matters firsthand, which is the direct experience of mysticism, can even help move from doing, say, 15 minutes each day to half an hour, to 1 hour, 2 hours or more. Well, we need less sleep because meditation is so restful. We will also work more efficiently to do all we need. It is of the utmost importance to meditate. Yes, it is central to maturing as a human being, being on the mystical path, and being more capable to work for the welfare of all. Now, our next question is of a more technical scientific nature. It is, does meditation increase brain-derived neurotrophic factor? The acronym for that is BDNF. So does meditation increase brain-derived neurotrophic factor, assisting the growth of neurons and synapses in our body? Now, scientific research on meditation is extensive, and it's being done increasingly at an increasing rate, I should say. And this includes meditations and techniques and practices of various types. The answer to this question is yes, from the latest research is looking that way. In science, as new studies comes in, it builds us up, we get new insights and viewpoints adjust. There's that self-correcting part of science. And science is greatly encouraged in the Rosicrucian tradition, and many great scientists who developed science and its methodology have added greatly to the Rosicrucian teachings and humanities knowledge. So yes, assisting the growth of neurons and synapses in our body. we are increasingly realizing how extensive and involved the body is, and it gives us a new appreciation of the microcosm as a miniature cosmos mirroring the cosmic. We know that physical exercise also has positive effects on the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. Now, BDNF protein and as a serum helps regulate what's technically called synaptic plasticity. It helps the synapses work. And that's important for memory and our learning. Another related question of a scientific nature is, does meditation increase mitochondrial function, causing more energy to produce in the cells of our bodies? Now, mitochondria, that's in its plural noun form or singular, mitochondrion, they're organelles that are found in cytoplasm of cells and that function in energy production. An organelle, some of this may be coming back of your high school cell biology, or maybe these are things you're quite involved in your work in science or as in health profession, but organelles are parts of a cell, and they store food and they produce energy and they discharge waste and they perform other duties that parallel or are analogous to things that are done on the larger organs in our body. So yes, this mitochondrial function goes up, and all those individual cells in our body have more, this important place of how the holy temple of our body makes energy in our body or increases it. This means that we have more energy in our body. This is why meditation is so energizing and re-energizing. And we know from our Rosicrucian studies, each cell of the body is imbued with the cosmic consciousness, just like the whole holy temple in the cosmos. So indeed, the action of the cosmic consciousness is in each cell is enhanced in meditation overall and in us, and our increasing realization of the great unity, which is the purpose of meditation and mysticism for us to realize. Now, I've got another question here before we conclude. And it is, can meditation help us overcome any resistance that we may have to learning a lesson, changing and transforming ourselves? All those things are central to being a student on the path, a human being maturing, coming into the full understanding, being one with the cosmic mind in the rose flower state. You know, psychologists that I work with have mentioned from their research and studies that avoidance is the fuel of anxiety. If we want to be anxious, just avoid something. It'll build up anxiety. So we don't want to do that. So avoidance is a fuel of anxiety, is that a sobering insight for us. And in fact, mysticism is about becoming more sober. Then the greatest maturity and exaltation can be entered into by ourselves. Now, an important part of learning is unlearning. And the fear of change that's part of that can be addressed by meditation. Meditation helps us to be more courageous. There's a law of resistance that operates here. This law of resistance, you see, resistance come up in our lives in a way that there's important things we need to face and do, increasingly by that inner guardian, the conscience, particularly activated by meditation. So we increasingly become aware and sensitive of the master within, things that we need to do. But that's a good thing. That's something we need to embrace, something that will enrich our lives, that will feel much greater for. Because to be a human is to be open. That's fundamental. Now, if we try to squirm, taking responsibilities for things or things that we need to know to take care of and so forth, meditation will tend to intensify that. That letting go during meditation will actually return us back stronger to that, because the lights will be on in our life far more. If we embrace those things that we need to deal with and replace them with new things, new laws in the subconscious, we'll be all the more along on the path, and all the more to be able to care and assist others. There's also a law of resistance that takes place in another way that's helped by meditation, and that is we have to show our worthiness. We have to show that we're ready and sincere to have greater maturity, greater laws and principles revealed to us through the teachings of the order and through the master within. And that we have a strong wish in this sincerity, for this constructive and uplifting evolvement. Now, for those things we need to face in ourselves, and for those things that will help us to mature and evolve, that we may be resisting, and we need to embrace those things. Meditation will help us do that because it's an act of non-avoidance. The letting go so we can return re-energized, calm, relaxed, to be able to concentrate. Creativity is heightened, courage is activated, we're open to novel thoughts. We have allowed the deeper recesses of the mind to be more at work, and we become more sensitized to them. Faculties working together in integrated fashion. All these matters coming together so we are much more able to solve, resolve, and make breakthroughs and enjoy living, to serve and to realize our life purpose. Before I conclude, I would ask Karen at this point to please post the resources for the presentation in the chat. They can be posted in there as text in the chat and then also as a PDF document. I think you may readily find it easiest to download the PDF document for your reference if you wish it. Now, by way of conclusion, I'll say that we have considered some common and not so common questions on the topic of meditation. And we've been encouraged in continuing to have meditation as the central practice in our living. We've continued to explore how meditation makes for the most direct and sure-wise counsel in our daily lives and increases our well-being and capacity for service. Thank you, fritters and sorors and participants.